What are macros? Sometimes when I say the word macro, some people don't even know and they pretend they do when I say it. So if you're not sure what a macro is, this video is for you. I'm gonna break it down exactly what it is and why macros are more important and will help you look better naked. So what's up everyone? It's Anthony from AB Fitness Center, where we help you to lose body fat, gain muscle, and get stronger. All right, so macros. What are macros? Why are they important? What are they? Like I said, some people are confused with them. So macros is short for macronutrients. So your body basically gets macronutrients from food, and it also gets micronutrients from food. So macros and micros. Macronutrients are the bigger things. So things like protein, carbohydrates, fats, and alcohol. Alcohol is actually considered its own macronutrient. And then we have micros, and micros are, minerals and things like that. And we don't really care about those so much. Not that we don't, but those don't contain any calories, so that's kind of like when you have the macros, you get your micros in from the macros. So like for example, spinach is very high in vitamins and minerals, and that's a micro, and that's how you get your micros in. So it's really hard to kind of track your micros. So by tracking your macros, you kind of hit the micros. So that's done. Okay, so don't get confused, trying to overwhelm anybody. But those are basically what macros are. Now, how many calories do each of them contain? So protein contains 4 calories per gram. Okay, carbohydrates contain 4 calories per gram, and fat contains 9 calories per gram, and alcohol contains 7 calories per gram. So when people say, oh, well, shouldn't I be tracking my calories? Macros is always better because macros are calories. They're broken down from calories. So each one of those macros have their own calories. So let's talk, I'll talk about calories in a second, but let's talk about what each one of them is. So protein, okay? Protein is very important when it comes to changing your body composition. Protein is the building blocks of muscle. So when you consume protein, you're consuming those raw ingredients that your body uses to build muscle. All right, so protein also helps with satiety and keeping you fuller longer. And this is why higher protein diets have been shown time and time again to be beneficial when it comes to changing your body composition, because they keep you fuller longer. So this is why higher protein diets work. And yeah, almost every study has shown that pretty much. So that's what protein does. What do carbs do? Why are carbs important? Well, carbohydrates aid in performance, okay, and muscle recovery, and it's also your muscle's main source of fuel. So when you consume carbohydrates, your body turns it into something called glycogen, and that gets stored in your muscles and in your liver, okay? And then when you use muscle glycogen, when you weight train or when you work out, you're utilizing that muscle glycogen. Once those glycogen stores are emptied, then your body starts dipping into fat. So this is why most people, when they go to the gym, they first do cardio. That's kind of a waste because you're just burning up that carbohydrate energy. And then once you tap all those sources, your body starts to burn fat. So if you're gonna do any cardio, which I don't really recommend doing a ton, but if you're gonna do cardio, you always gotta do it after your weight training session. So that's what carbs do. And why do we need fats? Why are fats important? Well, fats help with nutrient absorption. So fat helps, this is what some vitamins and minerals are fat soluble, meaning that they need fat to be digested. So fats help you with nutrient absorption, and they also help you with hormone function. So certain fats are good at you can't have your fat intake so low because then that kind of tanks your hormones, and that's not good either. So I always recommend a good balance of all 3 of them. I believe truly in a well-balanced diet. I never believe that you should take away one total macronutrient group, or so for example, a keto where you eliminate carbs completely. I don't think that is optimal. I do think there are some times where you need to go really low carb in order to push it, and every person's a little bit different. But in general, a good balanced approach to your nutrition will go a long, long way. So how much of each of these macronutrients do you need to actually lose weight and look better naked? So I did this formula in another video, but I'll run it down for you really quick. So if you're trying to lose fat, you need to start with this. Your body weight times 10 will give you the calories needed to begin a fat loss journey. Anywhere between 10 and 12. Again, it depends. I don't know who's on the other side of this listening to me, but just take your body weight, times it by 10 or 12, and that should give you a good starting point for fat loss. And that's how many calories you would need. Then from there, how much protein do you need? At a bare minimum, when your goal is at least fat loss, I would recommend 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you're gonna need 200 grams of protein. Again, give or take, every person's different. I'm not sure who's listening to this on the other end, but that's just an average general rule. And then what I like to do is I like to have a balance between the carbs and the fats. So I use the remaining portion of those calories to fill those. So there's no real rhyme or reason. I would think that probably 20% of your calories should come from fat at the bare minimum, and then you're kind of filling the gap between that. But that's pretty much how you would figure out what you need to do. If you don't want to be confused by any of this, you can look online for a macronutrient calculator, or you can click that link in the description, and I'll personally take you by the hand and help you through this whole process and help you to get healthier, get stronger, look better naked. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description. So that's how you kind of break down how many calories you need of each one. So why is it so important to track macros over calories? Okay, and the reason for this is because most food labels actually have a 10% margin of error. They're allowed to do that. It's just the way it is. So if something is 76 calories, they're able to round it down to 70. That's just the way it works. Don't ask me why. That's just the way it works in the US. So by tracking macros, you're actually tracking those same calories, but much more accurately, because like I said, so in protein, there's 4 calories per gram. So for example, and I know this because I checked it yesterday. So there was a protein supplement that I checked for one of our clients, and it has 19 grams of protein. So it just says 19 grams of protein per scoop. So the label says it has 70 calories. Okay, but when you actually do the math that I gave you earlier, 19 grams of protein times 4 calories per gram equals actually 76 calories. So it's not actually 70, it's actually 76. So these are things you have to keep in mind, and this is why I love tracking macronutrients, because it's a lot more accurate. Because macronutrients are what they are. You have to list the exact macronutrients. You can't misinterpret that. Some people do, it's just the way it goes. But usually if you're tracking macros, it's way more accurate than just tracking calories. So that's why I always recommend tracking macros. And this is why I love flexible dieting, because it allows you to eat whatever you want and still get the body that you want. So you need to remember too, when you're tracking macros, your body's also seeing the calories that are associated with that. It's not seeing the food type. So if I have a scoop of protein powder that has 25 grams of protein, or 4 ounces of chicken breast that has about the same, my body's not going to see the difference. It's just seeing the amounts. So this is why flexible dieting, I believe, is superior. So hopefully this video summed it up for you on what macros actually are. But remember, I don't want you to just be watching these videos. I want you to go and take action. So if your goal is fat loss, I'd recommend starting with what I said here, figuring out what your macros need to be, downloading MyFitnessPal, and getting to work. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one.